When you speak, you are creating, because reality cannot help but organize itself around sound. When you are using the power of your voice and arranging it with your tone, with your intentions, with your syntaxes, we are literally creating. Before there was light, there was sound. Sound is so primordial that we often forget that it is the entire backdrop to creation. So I'm going to be explaining the power of sound through the portal of our voice. We take for granted the fact that when we're speaking, we're actually using sound in different arrangements and different syntaxes in order to express ourselves. And even beyond that, we really don't know that we have an overall tone, and that tone carries within it our intention. So even beyond the weirdness of how sound is constantly coming out of our mouth when we're talking, but not only that, we're arranging sound in different sounds or vowels and all of these different waves in order for us to convey ourselves. And even if we weren't to understand that, if we looked inside a person's energy field, we could see that as they're making sounds, there's an overall tone. And that tone is expressing even more information. That information is their overall intention with whatever they're communicating or expressing. So you can see there's many different layers to sound. The power of our voice comes from our life force. That is the energy we hear and know as voice. So our voice is our spirit or life force that produces an energetic signature. We are formed from fields of vibration, and our energetic signature is the unique arrangement of those vibrations that transforms sound into music. Words are like codes that the quantum fields are responding to. When we start to appreciate the underestimated power of our voice, we step into spiritual sovereignty. Reality responds to the power of sound. So when we're using our voice, reality will respond to it, for better or for worse. But this isn't as clear-cut and simple as simply whatever we're speaking is what's manifesting instantly in front of us. So I don't want you to look at this from a very superficial or even a dogmatic lens. I just want you to see the power we have by speaking into reality what we want to create, and speaking into reality our intentions for ourselves and for the collective. Because this goes passed over, it goes so subtly glossed over inside this age. In fact, in other ages, this was probably more well-known, if not respected, at least inside mysticism. But now in this age, we almost view using the power of our voice as some sort of like delusional technique or something that is definitely located inside us trying to avoid reality or even bypass it. When instead, you are only using your intentions or your affirmations or just the power of your voice to create from a place of bypassing and avoidance. When your intention is to not accept yourself and to even reject yourself. And so you could see the difference and the power of that, where someone is coming from a place of non-resistance and even a high degrees of love for themselves as they are stating things to command their reality through voice, versus people who are coming from a state of avoidance, of rejection, and from bypassing. They're simply far different frequencies. If you were to look at them in an energy field, you would see them completely different. So there's really no contest when it comes to those. If we're using affirmations as a way of creating some sort of separation within ourselves because we refuse to accept ourselves, then that is not going to give the results that we wish to experience or call forward. That will usually probably magnetize or draw forward something that will help us clear that block, but clearing that block is something that is almost like a lesson. You could think of it that way. Something where now we've come to a higher understanding or embraced ourselves at a deeper level in order for us to have cleared that block. And now when we're stating things with the power of our voice or stating our intentions for ourselves and for the collective, now it's coming from the Creator God within. And so we are literally able to manifest far more potent by understanding the power that we have just through, we don't have to pay any money, we don't have to do anything. It just goes so subtly over that when you speak, you are creating. Because reality cannot help but organize itself around sound. And so when you are using the power of your voice and arranging it with your tone, with your intentions, with your syntaxes, in all of the weird boobly-goo ways that we shape our mouth and then breathe and sound comes out, we're like a whole echo chamber, really. We're a whole echo resonance chamber, because that's another key feature of sound. Sound operates through the backdrop of resonance. And so resonance is what we know in this age as like attracts like. It's a little bit more complex than that, but it's what attracts, or it's what magnetizes. It's through that resonance. So if we ourselves are an echo chamber or like a resonant chamber, all of our body, all of our advanced technology that we call our body has all of these auditory channels and chambers, even inside our brain, in our skull. All of the chambers around our brain are literally meant like that as well. Even the cavities inside our skull are designed that way so that they can be an auditory chamber, because we're nourished by sound and specific tones and specific frequencies at that point inside those cavities end up enhancing our psychic capacities. So sound is not just something outside of ourselves. Our whole body can be looked at as an instrument of sound. And when we use the power of that sound through our voice, we are literally, whether we know it or not, for better or worse, commanding reality, how it will be called forth in front of us. Now, usually when something at this advanced level is said, there's something that's very reasonable, in my opinion, that comes from a counter side, like, okay, yeah, tell that to people in third world countries. That's because there's many different factors at play. It's not just one factor that's going on. When it comes to our spiritual sovereignty, now we start to understand the esoteric factors, such as sound and our voice. But before that, there's still many strong and foundational programming that's happening. And yeah, that will counteract, that will work against something because it's not coming from a potent and coherent space. So let's say, for instance, that we have very strong religious or very strong detrimental spiritual programming. That will take up layers and layers and layers of programming within us before what we say actually has a strong potency to it. So it will still be shaping reality, but you understand that there's far more factors at play. Then take into consideration the emotional landscape. If emotions are valued and processed and honored and validated at all. If they're used as our ability to learn more about ourselves and then be able to express them and utilize them in a beneficial way for us instead of block them or repress them or oppress them. So beyond that, now we have mental programming. And that's not just one small thing. That's a whole umbrella category of many different types of programming that fit underneath that category. So that's why it's so important when we're developing ourselves and going through our spiritual evolution, that now we can come to a point where these teachings about using our voice to create don't sound so off or crazy at all. because you've been enough through deprogramming yourself. You've been enough through developing the emotional body, developing the mental body, and developing the spiritual body enough to now come into correct relationship with the power of our own voice and the power of sound. How many of us are intimidated or even cringe when we hear our voice? That's because what we're hearing is so much intimate information that we're almost like embarrassed at, like, oh, that's too much for people to hear or see, because that's how much information is carried inside sound. It's also our essence. So our voice is imbued with our essence. And so beyond our essence, beyond tone, which carries intention, and then whatever we will, and that will part is whatever we speak, that we're commanding, or that we're shaping or creating our reality with. All of these different factors carry in it intimate information that you can hear inside the tone of your voice. And that's why we get very cringe when we hear our own voice. Well, many of us do. So it's intimately linked with your power. And so when you're speaking, you're hearing not just your intimacy, not just vulnerability, but your power. And then another reason why it's so cringe to hear ourselves, our own voice, is because many of us are so energetically sensitive that when we hear our own voice, it has this synergistic event that happens where we become more real. And when we're already energetically sensitive, it can kind of sound weird, but hearing your own voice makes you more defined. And it can be a weird or uncomfortable sensation to be defined if you are sensitive. So, owning the power of our voice to create is something that we're not taught. It's something that actually would be laughed at, really. It would go under a category of woo. And yet, how reality is going to respond to it anyways, and that it's already happening, it might as well be done intentionally. There are many ways you can set intentions or use your voice to declare something. It's important, though, that you understand where the intentions are coming from. Are they coming from fear or desperation? Many people make declarations or set intentions from a place of fear without even knowing it, because it is masked as empowering speech. You can also tell if it comes from fear by how neurotic, hypervigilant, and overcompensating it is. Instead, you can create intentions and declarations to use that are both powerful, clear, and to the point. You can make them miraculous. Just make sure you are coming from your inner being and not from the ego's neurosis that simply turns techniques into more outlets for its hypervigilance. When you hear people on the world stage speaking and saying things, don't listen to them. They are saying things about how they're going to shape reality. And if you believe it and then you respond to that as though you cannot also use your voice to also command and shape the future and the now and reality, then it will seem all-encompassing. It will seem inevitable. But really, that's just because some people have learned how to control reality through the power of their voice and other ways. Whereas we are taught that it's all woo, and we're made fun of it, when in reality, you're literally having the most powerful form that's available to you by calling forth from the sound fields the raw materials and the raw resources that you can use to create what you wish. I hope this resonated in your chambers. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for higher dimensional guidance through spiritual awakening. See you next time.